Okay, guys, this is Jackie M. I have just lost my voice. So I'm not going to be talking very much, if at all, in this broadcast. But while I still got my voice, I just want to give a quick shout out to Lenovo Australia for supplying me with the laptop I use for my live streaming. I'm using an IdeaPad Y700 and Rode Australia for the microphone I use in my broadcast. Got any problems with my audio or anything like that? Let me know, okay? But you got any questions at all? Hit me up. But I will probably try and save my voice and then only talk sporadically. Okay, just give me a second. I'll just hop onto the right screen. Kiddo. Okay, cool. Right here. I am making. Hi, Cyan. I am making Nasi Lemak today. Picture up in the top right corner. I'm sure it's your right as well. But it's basically a rice dish, what we like to call Malaysia's national dish. Just give me a second. Audio off. Okay, cool, right here. Malaysia's national dish consists of in its basic form, it's basically rice, steamed rice with coconut flavor, coconut infused steamed rice basically. Usually comes with some boiled egg, some condiments like a boiled egg, slices of cucumber, some fried peanuts, and also Ikan Bilis Sambal. Ikan Bilis is a dried anchovy sambal. I'm sure I've done it in a previous, yeah, that's right, I made it. I used dried anchovies in my Hakka Pan Mi Twitch broadcast. Okay, so I'm going to be using that again, and I'll show you everything as I go along. Now, the other thing I'm going to mention, if you're watching this from anywhere except Twitch, hop over now to Twitch or hop over to Twitch anytime and follow me there. The short URL is just JackieM.live. Okay, that's where you get to interact with me, and that's where you get to find out about my giveaways and all that. Okay, first up, I'm going to do rice. And I'm going cheap here. I bought this today. It says Thai jasmine broken rice, okay? Broken rice is usually about, well, in this particular instance, about a third of the price cheaper. But it's basically B-grade Thai jasmine rice, but I mean, you know, we're eating it at home, so it doesn't matter. So broken rice is just basically rice that's not in one in its original form, right? I'm going to steam it. Quick shout out, Sunbeam Australia for this steamer, tabletop steamer. I've got some water in it, but it's cold water at the moment. Now, I'm gonna mention, I'm gonna admit, usually if we were doing this at home for personal consumption, we would just boil the rice, okay? It's more common in, certainly in my household growing up for us to boil the rice, usually in a Chinese rice cooker, or rice cooker for that matter. I'm going to steam it for you today, and hopefully it'll turn out, usually when you steam rice as opposed to boiling it, it takes longer, but you know, it's worth the effort because, you know, it gives it a nicer, looser texture, okay? Now I've got this over here. You can see this is a mesh bottom, but when I used to do this in my restaurant, I used to just use normal metal trays, okay? I used to steam them in big trays, but since I've got this, it'll just help with the steam transfer a bit better, so I'm just going to use this. Bought it at an Asian grocery store out in Cabramatta a few weeks ago, so it's a good opportunity to use it, okay? And I've just noticed the problem right away. It's not a problem, but because it's broken rice, some of the rice crumbles are just falling through the mesh. It doesn't matter. Okay, so what I usually do is I would actually wet the rice, okay? So I've already got some water in here. Put this in there. And I'm going to pour some water over the rice. And like I say, if you're using your normal non-porous tray, that's fine as well, because that's what I usually do. So I'm just trying to be a little bit cute and trying to speed things up a little bit. Now, my Wednesday broadcasts. I've got Noah here, just off screen here, so he can get a little bit disruptive. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jackie M, obviously, and I am a Malaysian-born, Sydney-based ex-Malaysian restaurateur. And I gave up my restaurant about 4+ years ago to look after my Down syndrome son. Like I say, I broadcast Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, Australian time. But on Wednesdays, which is today, I have my Down syndrome son with me. So he's just, like I said, out of camera shot, but he can be a little bit disruptive. He's going to bear with me. I'm just going to put this away. So this is on. I'm going to add, now this is not compulsory, right? But hey, how you doing? The hunger service, good to have you. By the way, guys, for those of you who don't already follow the hunger service, make sure you do, because those guys, they are fantastic. They do really, really cool stuff. So check it out. Thanks for that. Okay. So now this, like I say, is non-compulsory, okay? It's nice to have, but not necessary. But this basically is a frozen bag of pandan leaves. You can see it over here. There's a typo on it. It says pandan leaves, so it's actually pandan leaves, okay? Frozen pandan leaves. Here in Australia, I can buy them at Asian grocery stores quite easily in bags like this, okay? Pandan, when people ask. I said I wasn't going to talk. I told people that it was going to be a silent broadcast, but I can't help myself. So when my voice goes, I'll stop talking. Pandan, I like to tell people, is like Asian vanilla, basically. So it adds a nice aroma to whatever dish you're cooking. Okay, you can use it in savory dishes or in sweet dishes. Okay, so I've taken a few strands here and I'm just tying it in a knot, right? And that effectively kind of like makes it fit into your pan, first of all, and also it helps to bruise it a bit, sort of thing, to bring out the flavor. Okay, so I'm going to tuck this in the rice. There we go. And the other thing I'm going to add to the rice is just some salt, okay? So there's just some regular table salt. I'm not fancy with my salt use. This on, it's starting to heat up. So I'm going to steam this, and halfway through I'm going to actually add some coconut cream to it, okay? Because this is ultimately going to be coconut rice. So putting this away. Okay, now I'm going to cook a boiled egg in with the rice in a bit, okay? So remind me, if I'm not watching, remind me to throw in a boiled egg in the steamer as well, okay? To throw in an egg to boil in the steamer, or to steam for that matter. Okay, so I mentioned the other ingredients that are going into this are primarily the Ikan Bilis Sambal. Sambal in Malaysia, Indonesia generally means basically a relish or a condiment that's essentially kind of like a Malaysian chutney for what it's worth, right? There are lots and lots of different types of sambal, but most sambals generally contain onion and chili, okay? So this particular sambal that I'm making is sambal Ikan Bilis. Ikan Bilis means dried anchovy, right? And I'll show you. Here, there's the label here. It says, oh, thanks for hosting our Petra. Okay, dried headless anchovy, you can see it, right? There's a pack I bought at my local Asian grocery store. This is kept in the refrigerated section, though you can find other brands that are not, okay? So sometimes they will sit on the shelves. This one is from Vietnam, okay? And this is what it looks like over here. Okay. Sometimes it's called dried white bait, but I think technically it's dried anchovy. It doesn't actually look as large as anchovies you usually get in Italian cuisine, okay? But this is what it looks like. and the head's been removed and it's been split. Okay, in Malaysia you get lots and lots of different types of anchovies, dried anchovies, some larger, some smaller, some of the heads intact. And what I remember having to do growing up in Malaysia, because this back in my day used to be considered kind of like poor people's food, right? But we would buy them whole, so they wouldn't be. Oh, thanks for hosting. Now, usually in Malaysia, they would come whole, so they're not split in half, and also they'll have the heads intact, and they'll have guts in there as well, okay? So I remember as a kid having to kind of like break off the head, peel them in half, and remove the guts, and also remove the bone, the spiny bone right in the middle. Sometimes you can get pierced a little bit, right? Just keeping an eye on Noah, right? But nowadays, everything's a little bit more sophisticated, so you can buy them all pre-cleaned, pre-gutted. And if you're bringing it in from overseas, right, a lot of agents who travel overseas like to bring in foodstuffs from their home country because first of all, they think it's cheaper and also better quality back home. You got to remember, if you're bringing back dried anchovy, you have to bring back ones that are already cleaned and split in half. If they've got the head intact, bring it into Australia, customs will confiscate it, okay? So these are little things. Australia has some of the most strictest, basically, some of the strictest rules regarding what you can bring into the country. So this is what it looks like, and usually you'll be required to just soak it in some water and then strain it out before you use it, okay? So I'm just going to grab a glass bowl. No, you can sit, please. Sit down, please. Okay, so just a glass bowl. And the reason you would soak it in water is just to kind of really just to wash off some of the excess saltiness, and also stop it, please, baby. And also wash off some of the gritty. Okay. Please, baby, sit. So when you buy it, just rinse it with some cold water. Mix it around, and then just strain it out, okay? Hey, Noah, stop. Hey, hello, how you doing? Noah, stop. Yeah, no, please sit down. Little monkey, go sit down, please. Hey, here we go. Good boy. Okay, so, and you just strain this out. Now, the sambal, the dried anchovy sambal, there are quite a few different recipes out there, and the one that I make, the one I used to make for my restaurant is actually a different one. Today I'm going to make one that my mom usually makes, okay, my stepmom makes, which basically the point of difference between mine and hers is that first of all, I usually deep fry this, okay, till it's crispy, and then I would serve it separate to the sauce, the sambal sauce. And my sambal sauce would be just predominantly onion and chili, and then all the other seasoning, and I'll fry it up, okay. My mom's is a little bit more, has more ingredients in it, okay, and it's more. No, let's sit down, please. No. Okay, so my mom's actually has more of a sauce in it, because she actually adds coconut milk to her sambal as well. So hers is basically nicer, but it's a little bit different. Mine is more Malay style, okay? When I say Malay style, when you go to Malaysia, or if you're from Malaysia, you will know, like, the same dish cooked by different ethnic groups will have its own nuances, okay? Mine is more Malay style because I chose to go that direction when I did the whole food thing. My mom's is more of a Chinese style sauce, okay? So her dried anchovy is actually just pan fried, okay? Mine, like I said, is deep fried till it's crispy. Hers is pan fried, and then when she makes the sauce, she adds the anchovies back in, so it's basically a soft anchovy sambal. Mine was like a crispy onion chutney with the crispy dried white bait on top. Okay, I think I've done that in a previous broadcast. I don't remember. I've been doing these for 4 years now, just not on Twitch. Twitch is only my third. I've only been on Twitch for about 3 weeks. Okay. Wants to be yeah, Noah. Yeah, Petra. Noah's my Down syndrome kid. He's he's at that age where he knows how to kind of like push my buttons, you know. So I'm just trying to kind of like keep him out of trouble. He used to be better. He used to sit in a high chair when he could sit into a high chair. So I'm gonna turn this on, and let's get a. Part of the reason why I'm doing my mom's style sambal ikan bilis, dried anchovy sambal, is because I didn't want to actually heat up a whole big thing of oil for deep frying, because I've only got like the one gas bottle left over up here. So there's an excuse for me to do my mom's style. Okay, so with my mom's style, she wouldn't need that much oil. Still probably about half a cup of oil here, I guess. Right. Here you go. So just heating this up a little bit. And again, this is going to sizzle a bit because it's got a bit of moisture in it. And the other thing I need to do as well, I need to prepare the onion. So I'm going to have to go and grab my cutting board, and I'm going to avoid that puddle of water. If only you can see the puddle of water. I might bring a mop out actually to kind of like mop it out. By the way, our Petra is going to be pretty late over in Canada at the moment. And by the way, anyone who's watching from anywhere else, be sure to go to Twitch and follow our Petra, okay? Because he is a professional cook from Canada, and he does all this fantastic. You should see his food. Him and the hunger service, they do these beautifully presented food, right? And I come on the Twitch, I'll say, hey, look, I'm in a restaurant, and my food looks like a complete, like a complete kind of like wham bag sort of thing, you know. Okay, let's do this. Turning it in just to fry it up a bit. And this should smell quite pungent, okay? It smells like, you can imagine salted fish. That's basically what it smells like when it's fried up. And you just want to crisp it up a bit, and I'm going to tip out some of the oil, and I'm going to take out the anchovies as well, right? Onion. You can see I'm rushing this through a little bit because I'm worried about Noah playing up. I can never tell what his tipping point is, you know, when he starts thinking, this is it, I'm done, I'm going to turn the whole place upside down. So now, with Nasi Lemak, all right, there are lots and lots of condiments that can go on it, okay? In that picture, you can see that chili stuff is the sambal. That's what my sambal looks like. It looks like a dark chutney, right? Dark chili chutney. My mom's is going to look like a lighter color, okay? Because it's going to have coconut milk in it, and it's going to look more like a saucy thing, okay? The other thing is, if you want to be fancy with your Nasi Lemak, you can serve it with curry dishes, okay? In that particular one, you can't see, I've got it strategically cut off where the curry is, but that's actually kind of like a deluxe Nasi Lemak, right? That's what I used to call in my restaurant, Nasi Lemak Deluxe. It means you get on top of the peanut and the egg and the sambal, you also get some curries with it. So I used to offer 2 different types of curry, and I also used to have a chutney called achar with my Nasi Lemak, right? I'm not going to do the chutney today because that in itself is a completely separate live broadcast, which I actually only recently did on Facebook Live and on YouTube. So if you're watching this on Twitch, I'm going to send you over to YouTube after this session though. So hop onto YouTube. It's just youtube.com/JackieM. Okay, just Jackie M, not Jackie M Food. youtube.com/Jackie M. And you will find, I'm just stitching this out, you will find over 250 videos there, mostly related to cooking techniques, right? Recipes and that sort of stuff by yours truly. And it will have a recipe for basically my recent broadcast on how to make achar. Okay, achar is the pickle. And I actually did a shortcut version of it. It took me half an hour. Let me show this out. Okay, so I've got that. I've got an onion here that I'm just gonna cut up. And no worries. It's all true. Yeah, seriously, guys. Go on to Twitch. All my followers who don't go on Twitch, and there's not enough of you guys on Twitch, by the way. I know about the number of views I'm getting. I'm getting more views uploading these Twitch broadcasts onto YouTube. I'm getting more views of them on YouTube than I am on Twitch, right? But guys, hop over to Twitch and follow me at just Jackie M.live. Takes you to my YouTube, takes me to my Twitch page, and then follow our Petra and follow the Hunger Service. And these two guys do fantastic food live streams, okay? And if anyone knows of any other good food live streams, let me know. I've been busy in the last week, so I haven't really gone online to check them out, but it's really, really fascinating to see what other people do. Okay, so onion, I'm just quartering it. And I'm just gonna throw it into this. And the other thing I'm gonna add to this is some chili. Now these are big giant banana chilies. I mentioned in my previous broadcast the reason why I buy them is because they're cheap basically, but they have almost no heat in them, okay? So I'm gonna boost them with some other chili as well. But these banana chilies cost me, this whole bag cost me about $2, right? But usually for that amount of chili, either buying those regular, what we call big chilies in Asian cooking. We're not very sophisticated in our chilies in Asian cooking, well certainly not in Malaysian cooking. We just know them as big chilies and small chilies, and those are basically the two types of chilies that we use in our cooking. The small chilies are basically bird's eye chilies. The big chilies we just call big chilies, okay? So I know Americans or North Americans, because of your exposure to Mexican food, you're a little bit more nuanced in your chili usage. But having said that, you know, no. Having said that, I have used jalapeno in my sambal before. It works just fine. I think jalapeno has a little bit more heat in it than your regular big chili. But you know, once you fried it up, you can't really taste the, you know, any kind of like major nuances. Okay. Okay. So I've got chilies and I've got onion in here. Okay, and I'm just gonna blend this up. Okay. Okay, so this is just blended in my thermocook. And for those of you interested in the thermocook, there's a link to it on my Twitch page. So there's a panel called thermocook or called Fruity. I think I'm not sure if it's called Fruity or thermocook, one or the other. Fruity is the company that distributes it, and thermocook is the name of the appliance, right? But if you end up buying a thermocook from that link, I get an affiliate commission for it. But basically, it is basically a multi-function kitchen device. It functions not just as a food processor, but also it cooks, it steams, and all that sort of stuff. You make smoothies with it. You can grind nuts and all that with it. Okay, so I'm just going to heat up some more oil in here. And with my mom's sambal, right, she actually put some garlic in it as well. So my version would primarily be this, and you would want to fry this up till it's browned, okay? But my mom's version she puts garlic in it, okay? So you can imagine from, I think, from a flavor perspective, hers is actually a little bit more complex, right? But mine is more Malay. Mine is just simple. And the advantage with mine is that if you know Nasi Lemak, right? Nasi Lemak in its base form is a very basic Malaysian breakfast dish, and usually it gets served wrapped up in a cone within banana leaves, okay? So if you had like a sambal like mine and like what's in that picture over there, it's basically like a paste that you can put a dollop of that, put an egg in it, some cucumber slices, wrap it up, and there you go. But if you were actually making my mom's version, hers would be more, I guess, conducive to being served as a dish at dinner, okay? So instead of having it wrapped up in, because it's saucy, when it's wrapped up in a banana leaf, it's just going to spill everywhere, okay? So this is quite a bit of onion, and I would probably add more oil to this as well. And the other thing I'm going to add in is some lemongrass, okay? And I've got a fresh lemongrass over here. Now, because I'm doing it my mom's style, if I were doing this at my restaurant, I would have blended this in with my onion mixture, okay? But my mom, because she simmers this in a sauce, right? She basically gets lemongrass and she bruises it, right? And usually you bruise it by basically smashing the head here. But you can also kind of like help it to release its flavor by just cutting the stem, okay? What I've done over here. And usually, you see the long stem here. Just cut it up a little bit. We'll just break it up a little bit here. And just throw it in. And the other thing that I add to this is shrimp paste, okay? You can't find shrimp paste. I know people in some parts of the world struggle with some of the ingredients that I use, right? You can actually leave it out, okay? But the shrimp paste to me just adds an extra depth to this particular dish, okay? No, go sit down, please. Go sit down. Good boy. Just adding a little bit more oil to this. And okay, so that's steaming away. Go sit down. Here we go. Good boy. Okay, I'll let it steam for another few minutes, and I'm going to add the coconut cream over that, right? And hopefully it works, but the broken rice, like I said, the broken rice is actually a little bit more broken than I expected. So I probably should have used a solid base pan instead of one with perforations all the way through, because some of the rice crumbs were falling through the perforations, okay? But hopefully as they cook and they expand, they might actually stay put. Okay. So, like I say, I have to remind everyone, this particular version of the sambal is not the one that I usually make, which is like what's in that photo, but this is actually my stepmom's recipe, okay? So it's more saucy. I've realized there's actually quite a bit of onion in here. I might have to take some out. I might not, even make two versions of it, okay? But let's fry this up first. And in the meantime, I mentioned the fancy version of Nasi Lemak is what I used to call my restaurant Nasi Lemak Deluxe, okay? That's my kind of like made up term. But in Malaysia, they would call it Nasi Lemak Berlauk. Lauk means kind of like different dishes, different savory dishes to go with it, okay? And usually you're thinking of things like rendang, beef rendang, chicken curry, that sort of stuff, okay? But today, just to keep it short and simple, I'm just making some asam prawns. Asam means tamarind in Malay, okay? And I've got some big giant prawns over here. You can see it. Just by comparison, okay? So it's about the size of my palm. It's very, very large. And this is going to be a very, very quick dish to make as well. But I just need to kind of like cook this up before I do this. I'll do this last. But what I'm going to do with these prawns is I'm gonna leave this the skin on, because we Asians actually like the idea of chewing through prawn shell, okay? But I'm gonna just slit it down the middle here and just take out the vein. You can see it, okay? This is what we pull out, okay? Hey, no, stop. Come sit down, please. Go on, sit down. And then this bit here, you can see that greenish bit there. Leave it in, okay? Because that's the yummy part. Don't throw it out. So I'm just going to do. I'll show you. So you just cut it down here. So cut it. Open it up. Hey, Noah, stop. 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 Okay. So cut it. Noah. You can't see what he's doing, but he's deliberately touching everything. It's driving me nuts. Okay, so you see that? You pull that out. The orange stuff and the green stuff, leave it in, okay? The black, skinny vein is what you want to pull out. Okay. So I'll just do the rest of this. I need a babysitter. I need guests on Wednesday night broadcasts so that they can act as my babysitter, and in exchange I'll cook them a meal. So we go and sit down, please. Go and sit down. Yeah, go and sit down. And guys, if this is the first time watching me, the recipe will be up at my website, which is just jackiem.com.au, AU for Australia. That's where I post all my recipes within a couple of days of going live, okay? So go and check them out over there. And if you want to be a little bit more fancy, you can trim off the feelers over here. And I think I might just do that. Okay, so that's the prawn over here. Just cut off, snip off the edge, the end here. But you can peel the skin off if you want, but the Asians generally like to leave the skin on, the shell on. I'm just about to burn this. Okay, you're gonna add more oil to this. You tend to find if you're frying onion, it takes a lot of oil, okay? And with Asian cooking, when we're making sambal, when we're making a chili paste, or when we're cooking what we call rempah, which is the curry paste, right? In Malaysian curry paste, anyway, we don't just soften the onion, okay? And we don't just caramelize it. We want to actually get it quite brown. So this does take a little bit longer than your usual process of caramelizing onion. And the onion takes a lot of oil as well, so you just got to keep an eye on it, make sure it doesn't start sticking or burning. Okay. Getting over. I use my thermocook frequently. You know, yeah, you can actually cook this in a thermocook. I feel sometimes when I'm doing these broadcasts, like, oh damn, you know, I could actually do all this in my thermocook, but then what's to see, because everything, it'll be doing the stirring for me and people can't see it because it's covered, you know. And that's the downside of like the thermocook and the thermomix. It's it makes your life simpler, but it doesn't actually really kind of make for a good like visual experience when you're doing cooking demonstrations, unfortunately. So that's why I tip it into this and cook it here. But technically, you could actually let it do the stirring for you. You go away and iron some clothes and come back, and then just add the next ingredient in there. Okay, so this is frying up. Let's check on the rice. Turn it down a bit. So this is what the rice looks like so far. Okay. And if you join me late, the rice is just basically jasmine rice, but it's lower grade jasmine rice. It's called broken rice, okay? Because I'm being cheap here, and that costs about 35% cheaper. So I've got broken jasmine rice steaming in there, and I had some salt in it, and a couple of slices of pandan leaves, okay? Pandan leaves, you can leave it out, it's optional. I'm just going to add coconut cream to it. Okay? That's quite a fair bit for the amount of rice I've got in there. And if you find that it's a little bit dry, just add a bit of water to it, okay? Okay, just let it steam some more. And I've mentioned this before, but you know, most Asian households, people talk about steamed rice as though it's that's how we cook our rice. But most Asian households don't actually steam our rice. We boil our rice in the rice cooker. Okay, I'm just steaming it just to be a little bit cute, but also because that's how I did it in my restaurant. Okay, because when you steam rice, especially something like coconut rice, it doesn't matter because it's broken rice anyway, but when you're using like proper, like nice, like good rice, you could see the quality difference between boiled rice, which can tend to stick together a little bit, versus steamed rice, which would actually be a little bit, you know, more separate. So this is it here. I'm going to add some water to this, okay? Like I said, if I were doing my version, I wouldn't put the water in here. But I'm doing my mom's version, which is more of a saucy kind of sambal, okay? And to that, and of course, I was talking about the shrimp paste earlier, the belacan, and I totally forgot to put it now. I'm going to sprinkle it in now, okay? Shrimp paste, for those of you who don't know, is basically preserved shrimp, okay? And usually it comes in a block. And when it comes in a block, you would need to, well, certainly the Malaysian belacan, or what they call terasi in Indonesia. So same thing, but different names, different countries, okay? Indonesia, terasi, and Malaysia, belacan. They come in a block, and you will cut off a thin slice, okay? And then you will toast it, or you can dry fry it till it crumbles, okay? This version is already crumbled, and it's already been toasted for you. So I buy this just for, you know, convenience, right? Of course, if you were buying like the block and then toasting it, it will be a little bit more aromatic, okay? Because this is a pre-factory made and shipped over here sort of thing. But like I said, it's a convenience thing. That's why I use this. The other thing you want a balance of like sweet and sour flavors in this. You want tamarind, okay? Again, for convenience sake. I mentioned to people, I use a lot of shortcuts, okay? Because like I said, I come from a commercial background running a restaurant. So, but tamarind basically, if you can see this picture here, Google tamarind, you see what I mean, what it looks like. But basically, it's a sour fruit, okay? And what you would usually do, you can buy it in packs, tamarind blocks, okay? And then what you would need to do is boil it in some water, simmer it till it falls apart, and you'll find that it will have seeds. Most of them will have seeds. Even if not seeds, they will have the outer skin, okay, or the inner skin, okay? So you do still need to strain it out. Basically, you feed the pulp through like a sieve like this, okay? And what you get out of it at the end will be basically something akin to what this is. This is basically just the tamarind. I need to give this a shake. Here you go. This is basically tamarind concentrate. So it's basically tamarind pulp that's been that's had water added to it and then strained out. Okay. And different brands of tamarind concentrate will have different levels of concentration. So it's very hard sometimes to write recipes for Asian dishes, okay? Because different brands of the same thing might have different, might be different in their flavor, in their strength. Okay, see this one is quite runny, so I might have to use more. And when I opened it, it actually had settled, so it was actually very, very runny at the top. So you need to give it a good shake. I have used a different brand of this in the past. I actually ran a series of master classes at this hotel in the city, and I had a food sponsor come on board, and they provided us with their own tamarind concentrate. And following my recipe, basically the students in my master class were basically using a 1-to-1 rate, obviously, and they're following my recipe when it says 2 tablespoons of tamarind concentrate, assuming they use this, would have been right. But they got a different brand of it from this brand sponsor, and it was basically like a paste, a very, very intense paste. So the recipe is kind of like had to be adjusted very, very severely at the end because of that. To this, like I said, my mom's version of this dish actually has coconut cream in it. So I'm going to throw that in. Okay, so my version of this sambal is a lot more basic. It has the tamarind, it has the belacan, it has the onion, it has the chili, and I'm going to add some sugar to this, fair bit of sugar. Okay, in fact, mine is sweeter. Mine is a more intensely, strong flavored onion chutney. Okay, my mom's is more of a nice, fairly subtle sauce. Okay, in fact, come to think of it, her sauce isn't too dissimilar to your Thai red curry paste sauce sort of thing, red curry sauce. So I want sugar, and I'm going to put some chicken powder in this just to get some flavor. Okay, so remember the shrimp paste that I put in is optional. I have a strong feeling that my mom usually leaves out the shrimp paste. Okay, so guys, don't stress out too much if you're missing, an ingredient here or there. You can still get a fairly decent Malaysian meal without half the ingredients that I use. Okay, I'm gonna put some chicken powder in this. If you want to avoid using chicken powder, which is basically like chicken stock cubes, but in powder form, but more flavorsome, you don't want to use this. Just put some salt in it. And I think my mom actually put some soy sauce in it, which is very Chinese. Okay, and if you're just joining me now, I've mentioned before that Nasi Lemak is kind of considered Malaysia's national dish. Okay, it's in its base form is coconut rice. So turn this back up. Coconut rice with some condiments like fried peanuts and some slices of cucumber, boiled egg. Right. Speaking of which, I'm going to throw in some eggs in here. Okay. I'm actually putting the egg into steam. Okay, just because it's easier. But hopefully the rice will turn out okay. But let's just taste this a little bit. Okay, this is quite oniony. My mom, if she were making this, would have more of a sauce, more of a runny sauce thing. Okay, I used a fair bit of onion in this. I can't taste any chili heat in it at all, so I'm going to boost this with some chili. If you watch my previous broadcast with the satay, I made some chili here. This is basically just chili paste, right? Just basically pureed dried chilies, fried up with some oil and a little bit of salt. Okay, so I'm just gonna add, and it's quite spicy, so I'm just gonna add a small spoonful of this in here, just to boost the heat level a little bit, because I was using these giant banana chilies because they were cheap, at $2 a bag, right? Usually they would have cost me closer to 10 bucks if I were using the decent Chinese chilies. But the banana chilies are basically virtually like capsicum, okay? So they have no heat in them a lot of the time. Okay, and if you don't have this chili paste, you can also just use chili powder to boost the heat level up a bit. Okay. Okay. It needs more sugar, and it is quite a lot spicier now. So if I were making this, I basically would not have I wouldn't have added the water, and I wouldn't have added the coconut cream, okay? Okay, flavor's pretty close to it. I've got the fried anchovies. I'm going to throw it in, okay? I mentioned my mom braces first so that the anchovies end up being soft. If I was selling this at my restaurant, what I usually would have done is left the anchovies crispy, put a dollop of the sambal, and then put the anchovies on top so that they're crispy, and then mix in with the dried onion chutney, okay? So voila. Sorry guys, I'm getting there. I prefer that this broadcast is one where I won't be speaking, so I'm going to try and shut up my throat's getting really irritated. Okay. So voila, this is done. You probably could have used more dried anchovy in there, but doesn't matter. You know what, I'm going to dish this out, and then I'm going to wipe this down, and I'm going to, I should have actually marinated the prawns, but let's do that now. So I've just got the prawns over here. Any kind of distractions. I'm going to blame no one. I've got the prawns here. And let me just... Okay, this prawn dish is basically what we call Assam prawn. Assam, like I said, just means tamarind, okay? And I'm going to serve it up with the Nasi Lemak. But this is very, very quick and easy. I'll just for this. Got 6 large prawns in here. Again, the tamarind, okay? Let's give it another shake because it seems to have really settled. It's very, very runny. This would be this particular batch. So basically, I poured in about 1/4 cup of tamarind in here. I'm going to add some sugar to it. I'm just going to put a dash of soy sauce in here, okay? And finally, this is what really makes the dish, okay? This here in English says, you can read it, it says cooking caramel, okay? Back in my day, and in fact, if you look it up online, I think this is a rebranding thing by this brand, okay? This brand basically has the market for this particular product. But this is what we grew up knowing as thick soy sauce, okay? At some point in time, for whatever reason, they started labeling them as cooking caramel instead of thick soy sauce. You can see it, it's very thick, and it's very intensely dark, okay? It's not kicap manis. A lot of people confuse this for kicap manis, which is sweet soy sauce. But it's, you could, you know, technically substitute it with kicap manis, except kicap manis is sweeter and also less intensely thick and less intensely strong flavor. But this is, if you can imagine, soy sauce that has been caramelized with sugar, okay? And colored probably. Any Asian dish that looks like it's a dark braised color, that's what that's where it comes from, like this thick soy sauce, aka cooking caramel, okay? So look for that. The label is so confusing. It's got an elephant on it, right? Okay. So there you go. I'm just going to mix this in with my hand. I could probably move things around so that the camera shows what I'm doing here. Okay, there you go. Okay. Ideally, you should let this marinate for a few minutes, okay? I'm going to... And knowing me, I'm probably just going to add a dash of the chicken powder in it, but I'll leave it out for the moment. This way. check on the rice. Nowhere near done. I'm going to add more water to it. Just use it. I almost wish that I haven't used that porous thing now. But like I said, usually if we were cooking this at home, we would actually just put this in a rice cooker. Just keep in mind though, if it's got coconut milk in your rice, right? Usually if we're cooking coconut rice, we would just put the coconut milk and the water and all that in a rice cooker and then just cook it per normal. But usually you would find if you were using a rice cooker, an automatic rice cooker, just using water, it basically is set so that it will actually automatically cook it to perfection for you and then turn off, okay? But when you add other elements like coconut milk or coconut cream in my case, it will slow down the cooking process. So when the button pops up and says it's done, it usually isn't, okay? So sometimes we try and jig it by forcing the button to stay down, or we'll press it down again, you know, after a few minutes to let it cook again, sort of thing. But just something to keep in mind, okay? So let's just dish this out. And I'll just move a couple of these things out of the way. I guess I needed to mop the floor today since Noah's spilled some water on it. Okay, so you can't really see the white plate, but it's in there. Okay, so I'll just dish this out. And usually we would throw out the, let's see, my tongue's in here. We would throw this out because they get in the way when you're eating, okay? But like I said, that's my other point of difference when I make this dish as well. I usually would mince the lemongrass in with the onion and the chili, whereas my mom tends to leave it whole, just bruised, okay? So just dishing this out. And you'll get people debate about which type of sambal, dried anchovy sambal they prefer, okay? Some people say, oh, you can't do it properly without coconut milk, and others will basically think that that version up there, which is my version, is more authentic, right? So, let me see here. It's more oniony than my mom's. My mom's usually will have my mom actually uses a combination of pureed onion and also onion slices. I'm not a huge fan of biting into like lots and lots of slices of onion. Just give me a minute while I wash this up, okay? So I'll just rinse this up quickly. I'm just going to towel it down. There we go. Just wipe this down a bit here. Okay. I'm just going to turn this back on. I just want to bring it up to heat again. Just going to add a little bit of oil to this. Sweep this out of the way. Hopefully no one doesn't attack it. Okay. A little bit of oil. And we're going to want to basically, look, I'm going to add a little bit of this into my prawn marinade. Okay. There you go. So So these have been marinating in some tamarind. I mean, a mixture of tamarind, some thick soy sauce, aka cooking caramel, some sugar, a little bit of soy sauce, and some chicken powder. Okay, I could probably add some pepper in it, so I'm running low on pepper, and it doesn't matter. So let's throw this in. Turn it down a little bit. And I'm just gonna get a lid and cover this up. Okay. Let this cook. I'm gonna check on the rice. It's nearly done. Now, in terms of what type of rice we use for our cooking, right? I mentioned how like different ethnicities use different types of have their own slants on this particular dish. The Indians, I noticed, probably not all Indians, but I have had Indian Nasi Lemak where they use basmati rice, which are the long, skinny types of rice. Okay, but generally, if you were eating this at a Malay store or at a Chinese store, we would just use jasmine rice. Okay, so Noah's doing the voiceover for you. Allowed to look. Yeah, thanks, Diane. I should fly you over here one of these days, you know. To look after Noah for me. Okay, so let's just flip this over. So basically what you want this to look like at the end is like caramelized prawns, okay? Black caramelized prawns. Okay. Just let me taste it a little bit. It's nice enough. Okay. I'm going to clear out a couple of things so that I have room to cut up my onion, my cucumber and stuff. Okay, I am back. I am so glad I've got a zoomed in camera. Because this place looks like a disaster zone at the moment. Let me just try and move this a little bit so you can see this. Okay. Let me just switch cameras so you can have a better view of the prawns, right? Okay, over there. Okay, sort of. So this is a super, super easy dish, and it's very, very flavorsome as well. Surprisingly, for an Asian dish, it's actually very, very easy. Because you've seen how a lot of the other stuff I do seems to be a little bit involved, right? But tamarind prawns, if ever you're struggling for any ideas, you just need about 4 ingredients plus the prawns. Just make sure you got some tamarind with you, on you. So this basically tastes bit sour, bit sweet, bit salty as well. Okay. I want to let it reduce a little bit, so that ultimately what's in the sauce ends up caramelizing and sticking to the prawns. Okay, I'll leave it open for the last few minutes. And I'm going to cut up my cucumber. Okay, it's a little bit ratty, but just don't look too close. I buy these cucumbers and stuff and I forget to eat them, so they end up quite spongy. But cucumber, okay, just cut in chunks like this, usually. And I had some banana leaves, yep. Okay, so I've got some leftover banana leaves from a previous event I was doing, but I'll show you what they look like. People would know banana leaves. Okay, the dull side and the nice bright side. This is a little bit ratty because this is a few weeks old, okay? But usually if I were wrapping the Nasi Lemak, I would want like wider cuts of banana leaves, right? This is quite a small segment. So I'm not going to try and wrap it, but I've got people who confuse which side of the banana leaf to use, okay? I've had my staff who actually get confused about which side of the banana leaf to use. So rule of thumb, if you're using it as a wrapper, you want the food to go on the dull side, okay? But then you wrap it up, and then what happens is that the food looks pretty, okay? It's an aesthetic thing as much as it is an imbuing flavor into your dish thing, okay? So but if you were not wrapping this, and I'm not wrapping it this time, and you were just lining a plate with banana leaves, right? You would want to put the banana leaf like this, okay? Which is the colorful side up. Because once you put the food on, you can still see the nice aesthetic of the colorful leaf, right? But it's not a hard and fast rule thing. If you go to a banana leaf curry house, right? If you go to a banana, if you're making otak, which is those fish cakes that I make that you grill, okay, then you're wrapping it. So this is the banana leaf, bright side, dull side. Again, if you're putting the fish paste in, you put the fish paste here, you wrap it up so that you see it nice and colorful on the outside. Okay, so don't put it on here and then wrap it up like this. Then it looks really ugly. Okay, but when I line a plate with it, I put it on with the bright side up, okay? But if you were eating banana leaf curry in Malaysia, where they give you basically almost like a whole strip or a long banana leaf, they put it on with the dull side up because all the food sits on top of it, okay? So it's just like, there's no hard and fast rule is what I'm trying to say. Unless you're wrapping things with it, in which case, then yeah, use the dull side, okay, on the inside, okay? The food goes into. Okay, so this is done. It's all dried up, right? And you could, like I said, you could technically have peeled the prawn shell off, but the Asians generally like to keep the shell on. Let me find a plate for this. You know what? This plate is like a platter. It's ginormous, guys. But the only plate I've got left that looks half decent. Because Noah broke my red plate. If you've seen my photos on Instagram, I used to use this red plate a lot, and it's been broken by Noah now. So let me just trim off the ugly bits of this banana leaf. Like I said, they do tend to get black at the corners once they age, and when they do, you just want to cut off, like you see the black edges here. Generally, you would want to trim them off, okay, for aesthetic reasons. So, banana leaf here. Let's check on the rice. Okay, rice is done. More or less done. It's got a few tough bits in there. Okay, so you see I steamed the egg because of convenience. Usually you would boil the eggs. Okay, and you saw that pandan leaf, you would take it out, you don't serve it with the pandan leaf. Okay, so what I used to do we get a bowl. And again, if you don't have pandan leaf, don't worry about it, okay? What I used to do in my restaurant, get a bowl of rice, okay? Just press it down a bit, and then you tip it over. Keep it on there for the moment. Put some cucumber around this, okay? Let's get the egg. I'm gonna put some gloves on, because they're gonna be hot. Okay, so I've got the egg. I'm going to cut it in half. I'm going to break it first, easier. Let me just switch cameras again. In front, okay. Cool. I just wonder what I can substitute for the cooking caramel. Yeah, soy sauce and more sugar. Okay, that's your best bet. If you don't have ketchup manis, which is a sweet soy sauce, if you have sweet soy sauce, use that. But if you don't have it, just soy sauce and some sugar, and anything that can make it look dark, you know. But, okay, so got this. This time, okay, and sambal. And some of these prawns. Okay, so there you go, guys. You can see it. Like I said, look, I'm gonna cheat and I'm gonna top up this thing with some pre-fried anchovy. Just give me a second. Just for presentation purposes. Okay, so if you can see this, okay, so that's some pre-fried anchovy here, the sambal, the rice mold, okay, cucumber, egg. Just let me switch to the overhead shot. Okay, so this is my fairly basic nasi lemak, okay, but usually I would have the pickle over there and peanuts. Give me a second. I cheated today. What I usually do is buy like a pack of peanut on the skin, right? And then just deep fry it. And then just sprinkle some salt over it. But I saw this at the grocery store already pre-fried. And it didn't cost a lot more than if I had bought it and had to cook it myself. So I thought, oh, this will do, because I don't go through that much peanut. Okay, so there you go. It's my nasi lemak with the asam prawn. If you've got any questions, let me know. No questions yet. Okay, cool. Don't forget, my next broadcast this Friday at 12:30. Unfortunately, I was going to start on the vegan series this week. Unfortunately, Tanya, who was with me a couple of weeks ago, she hurt herself, so we're going to delay the start of that. But hop over to my Twitch channel, which is just JackieM.live, and follow me there. And I'm still working through, thanks for your patience, guys. I'm still working through the giveaways. I do have an idea what I'm going to give away, but I just want to kind of like do it properly, not just randomly call it out. But yeah, go over to JackieM.com.au to sign up to my newsletter, and you'll get updates of my series of recipes every week, so you'll get a newsletter in your mailbox every Friday with all the recipes that I've done during the week. Otherwise, go over there and just check it out in a couple of days for this particular recipe. And there you go. That's my simple Nasi Lemak. You can see it didn't take, how long did it take me? Okay, just over an hour. So you can whip this up pretty quickly at home if you want to, right? And if you were boiling the rice, it would be, I guess, you know, faster as well, sort of thing. So if you were boiling the rice, it'll take you probably about half an hour to cook the rice. Took me a bit longer because I was steaming it, okay? But again, rice predominantly, the key ingredients in the rice would be a pinch of salt plus coconut cream, okay? I added the pandan leaves just for the extra flavor. Like I said, pandan's like Asian vanilla nice to have, but not completely absolutely necessary. And the sambal is the next key ingredient, which is basically dried anchovy and an onion and chili chutney basically. And I used my mom's recipe today. Usually I don't put coconut cream in mine, but otherwise it's just onion and chili fried up till it's brown, and then you add tamarind for the sourness, you add sugar for the sweetness, and you add a little bit of like salt, or like I said, my mom uses soy sauce, I use chicken powder. You can just put a little bit of salt, so it's a balance of those flavors, but it should be on the sweet side, okay? But the recipe will up on Jackie.com in a couple of days. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Don't forget, follow me on Twitch and follow me on everywhere else. And I'll see you this Friday. Friday is at 12:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time, and at 8:30 on Thursday night if you're in North America. Okay, EST. Thanks, guys. I'll see you later. Ciao.